Hello and welcome to the SBL Guru podcast. In this podcast, we focus on success stories. Students have turned around a failure in the ACCA exam into a success. So, Erin, in terms of like helping students, I know you're sort of very dedicated and committed lecturer, and people who do your courses, like you go all in to help them. Have you got any sort of stories and success stories you want to share about that student who like wasn't doing very well and then you managed to turn them around?
Yeah, well, it lends quite nicely to what we've been talking about in terms of the jump, and when to have a go at the exams at applied skills. And there's been several students that I've met over the last few years, especially when I've been, directly helping students in the way that I am helping them, that they've kind of just keep failing audit and assurance. And it doesn't matter what they've done, they can never get that pass. And they, start off in the 30s and then they have like a series of 47, 48, 49%, and they just don't know what else to do. But in between that, they've been then going, okay, well, I'll do tax. And then, okay, and I've now passed tax. Let me try audit again. No, still can't pass audit. And then the same, like do another one. And they're then left with, they've got nothing else apart from audit and assurance, and it's stopping them from moving up to strategic professional. And most recently, I had a student who came to me after 9 attempts at
Wow.
audit and assurance.
9.
9.
Wow.
And you know what? It was a mix of starting early. So a lot of people think, oh, I'll get audit insurance out of the way, and that's not a good idea. As I said, trying to leave it towards the end does help. But also not really studying in the way that you need to study for a professional exam. You can get away with it in some other topics sometimes, but what we talked about the application skills and being able to develop your answer based on anything that they could throw at you is actually a skill in itself, and it needs to be practiced. And a lot of people think, well, audit's a lovely theoretical subject, and if I read everything and I know this subject inside out and I can quote every auditing standard in the land, then I'll pass this exam. And you couldn't be further from the truth, because unless you are, solidly practicing questions and even getting feedback on your answers and practicing those quizzes and mastering those OTQs for the first section, then you are going to be constantly hitting disappointment. And this is what was happening with this student. So they just hadn't applied themselves enough to the exam. And so then when they came onto my course, they get met with questions from day one, and we need homework in during the tuition phase. There's application questions, there's tips and tricks on how to develop that, and we work on it over a long period of time. And went through the course, but what was really lovely was that I remember about 2 or 3 weeks in, they messaged me and they went, I already know what I've done wrong, and I can now see how I'm going to be able to pass this time. And then we hit revision, and they were like, I've never been so confident in my life. I know exactly what I've done wrong. I know exactly where to do this. And they sailed through the exam, because they had finally, despite knowing the subject inside out, they'd finally been given the technique that they needed to be able to apply themselves, and they'd practice those questions as well, which was lovely and a relief as well, because there's nothing nicer than knowing that you can help.
The 10th failure, right, would be a real disaster, right? So
didn't want that.
Yeah, I had a similar one. I had a student who'd sat the exam 4 times, never got a 40, never got in. The first number was 4, and she'd been to all the colleges. And I said, well, what do you do? What about homework? Oh, I didn't really bother with the homework. And what about the mock exam? Oh, well, I just didn't bother. I said, look, do my course, but if you want to pass, every homework, you must do it. And I will mark it for you and give you feedback on it. But every single homework, it must be done for you. You can't mess about, and you must do the mock exam. So, and then it'd be like, it suddenly clicked. Oh, really? I'm doing it all wrong. Yeah. And her first homework is disaster, right? It didn't do very well.
Yeah.
But I give her the feedback. So, look, this is what you need to do. Do it my way. And a lot of students, they think that they're doing it their way and failing, but you've got to do it my way, because I know what the best way is to get you through the examination. So she's sort of a bit like that. She just clicked, revision course. She's sitting back going, yeah, I know exactly what to do. I'll do exactly the way you told me. I get it. I got it. And she got like 71 and she'd never got above 30 before, 30, 32,
No.
34, so.
Huge jump.
Yeah, it's a huge jump because like it's all about working in the right direction. It's not about effort. It's about working in the right direction and like doing things in the right way is the most important thing that you have in the examination. So getting a great tutor, which is what FME offers, is like, the secret is like having that personal support when you need it and having somebody who's like got a lot of experience of getting people through the exam.
Yeah, and those mocks
are
just
so
critical. And how many students out there bury their heads in the sand, hoping that the mocks will go away and people will stop talking about them because they don't really want to do them.
We don't stop talking.
They're your lifesaver.
Yeah,
you have to.
They're the most important thing to do.
Them.
Yeah, Erin, thank you very much. That's been like a really great insight, and thank you for working with me on the podcast. And hope we'll do another one in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you need help passing AA or SBL, please get in touch with myself or Erin. I'll put a link in the description of this podcast. Thank you very much.